Last month, both Superman and Fantastic Four First Steps came out. I have now watched both of these movies, so here is my review for these super fantastic movies, and at the end I'll compare them to see which I think is better. Starting off with Fantastic Four, there are a lot of things I can say about this movie, most of them being positive. Starting off with the plot. The main plot is trying to find a way to stop Earth from getting turned into protein for Galactus, which I found very creative. Not really the plot itself, but the execution of it. Starting off with the Silver Surfer introduction scene, it sets the tone for the film amazingly.
Yes, we
Fear. People on the Fantastic Four are scared, while Salabol gives the most monotone and coldest line in the film. This scene also ends with Johnny chasing the Silver Surfer and both giving the best shot in the entire movie and setting up their dynamic. The next thing, them using FTL to get answers from Galactus, was great. It showed the stakes of what would happen to Earth if Galactus wanted extra protein, and the entire scene in the ship was great. It improved the dynamic between the Surfer and Johnny and established something interesting. Sue's baby has the power cosmic, which would allow Galactus to be normal again. So he wants the baby and sends Sue into labor prematurely. This leads to the best fight scene in the film. It feels like it's out of a Michael Bay movie, in the sense that it feels like it never stops scaling. First they're trying to escape the Surfer into the FTL machine. They do it, but A, the Surfer tries to grab the child through the Sue's belly, which disgusted me while I was seeing it, and B, the Surfer chases them into the FTL wormhole, so they have Johnny try to shoot her out, and Reed is trying to find a way to get the Surfer off their tail, and Sue is about to give birth. So Reed thinks of a great plan to go from after Squid Meridia to pre-Squid Meridia, and takes them to a black hole. Again, an amazing visual, but it still builds up. The Thing and Johnny try to guide Sala into the black hole, while Sue gives birth and Reed helps her push. See how things are escalating? It's an amazing sequence and one of the best parts in the film. Followed by one of the worst parts in the film. The scene where they return to Earth was great. It was realistic, and the I don't know from Reed hit hard, considering he knows everything. And it also gave birth to the funniest Marvel meme in years. We tried to negotiate, but Galactus asked too high a price. What did he ask for? Too bad! Consequences of the actual scene was realistic. The Fantastic Four are hated because they decided to not give up their child in order to save the entire planet. This makes sense. While still not making giving up the child the best option, it shows that the main characters aren't immune to consequences and makes the world feel more human. The reason this is the worst part in the film is the way it concludes. A very out-of-thought speech from Sue basically saying we will protect you, but we will not give up our child.
Franklin.
I'm surprised no one threw tomatoes at her. She just said, she didn't say anything. Just we'll save you, trust us. Felt kinda stupid in my opinion. Most of you know me? After that we had one of the most creative parts of the film. The entire idea to unite the entire Earth together in order to build teleporting devices to teleport the Earth to a different place. It was set up at the start and it was very cool. Seeing the world unite in order to build the teleporters and surviving through the curfews in order to power the teleporters was interesting, only for it to crumble as it was about to activate, giving us easily the best scene in the entire movie, between Silver Surfer and Johnny Storm. It's been set up in the film since the beginning, and we see the conclusion of it. He showed her all the messages the people from her homeworld had sent in attempts to thank her. He also showed her all of the messages of the planets that were about to be proteined by Galactus. That she led him to the planets. This fucking breaks her, and while it doesn't change her mind on Galactus, at least for now, it does move her character, which I found great. While this is the best scene in the film, the ending was still great. There was one teleporter left, and they planned on teleporting Galactus to wherever they were planning on teleporting Earth. The plan was to bait him using Franklin. When Galactus arrives, you really feel his aura. He's moving like nothing can hurt him, which nothing can. Seeing everyone wail on him and him still not being hurt makes him feel like an unstoppable and immovable object. Back to the ending, Galactus figuring out that they've moved the baby is smart and feels very scary. Especially scary when he actually takes the baby and starts leaving. Then the pure and divine crash out Sue has at losing her baby was amazing. Allowing her to push Galactus was very cool and gave them a chance to teleport him away.
This leads to my second favorite moment in the film. When Johnny started saying, "Tell Franklin his uncle loved him," had me thinking we'd have the future Foundation in Doomsday. Until the Surfer pushes him out and sacrifices herself to push Galactus back into the teleporter. The end of the sequence with Sue's death was both predictable and spoiled for me. However, it's an interesting way to showcase the power cosmic, which will no doubt be involved in Secret Wars. And the scene itself was great. It showcases the stress and sadness that Reed felt during Sue's death, and also the first thing she does after her resurrection, being looking into her baby's eyes, was great. Overall, I think it was a fine ending, and it wrapped up the film in a nice way. The post-credit scene was plain and simple, exactly what we could have wanted. The Great Doctor is here and has taken the baby of infinite power and resurrection. This sets up a decent amount of theories for Doomsday and Secret Wars, which I'll maybe make a video about. Overall, I think this movie was great. My favorite part was easily the dynamic between Johnny and Salah Bal, and just Johnny in general. I loved his personality, I loved his acting, and I just loved everything about him. And the Surfer actually being a character rather than just an alien employee was great, and just proved to me that Johnny was great. Again, the scene where Johnny shows her the messages from her homeworld was perfect, and easily the best moment in the film. Now on to The Man of Tomorrow. I came out of this movie with two thoughts and two thoughts only. 1. This movie was amazing. And 2. I really hate Lex Luthor. I really hate Lex Luthor. However, before I get on with that, I'd like to talk about the movie first. The movie does something called in media res. In short, it drops us in the middle of all the action. It has a Star Wars-esque intro, which gives a basic rundown of what's happened, ending with and Superman lost his first fight. And we get the shot from the trailer of Superman in the snow and calling for Krypto. Amazing opening. Superman heals using the sun and goes to fight the Hammer of Barnovia, which he loses because it's controlled by Luthor. The fight ends with the guy lifting up Superman from the ground, which I again loved, which also led to my Luthor hatred. You'll see why later. Back to the main plot though, it really starts when Luthor breaks into the Fortress of Solitude and fights the messages Kal-El's parents sent with the ship that was damaged when Kal-El landed on Earth. However, the symbiote chick, I forgot her name but she reminds me of the symbiote from Spider-Man 2, repairs the message, revealing the dark truth behind it, telling Superman to have essentially a harem and be a dictator over them. I love the scene between the Justice Gang and Superman, where Lantern, while still being antagonistic to Superman, gives him more personal space by closing the windows to the building. And then Superman leaves, returning to the Fortress of Solitude to find that it was destroyed and Krypto wasn't there. This both leads to the greatest rage bait scene in all of media, and to a great scene between Clark and Lois, which leads Clark to turn himself into Luthor, so he can maybe find the dog. This leads to Luthor imprisoning Clark in a pocket universe. This is why I hate Luthor, by the way. Not because he imprisoned him, that makes sense. What doesn't is making something so cool and innovative and frankly out of this world as a pocket universe and using it to imprison people illegally. Again, I love Luthor's character, I just hate Luthor the character. Back to the plot, Luthor uses Metamorpho to produce Kryptonite to weaken Superman. After giving him a third of the pocket universe, they put Clark's cell in its place. The next day, Luthor brings the guy who lifted up Superman in the beginning and kills him, while pretending he's doing to get answers out of Superman. Metamorpho, seeing an innocent man die and him being unable to do anything about it, makes him want to stop having a kryptonite arm and make a miniature sun to power Superman, so he can free his son. Which is why he's doing whatever Luthor wanted, was because he wanted to keep his son safe. A small side note, while he's making the sun, the people around are being all, he's doing something, stop him. While they themselves want freedom, it's like when they're given a chance to have it with Superman, they get scared. I took this as people don't want change and they're scared of change. They are happy being content even in their shitty situation. Maybe I read too deep into this and it was just meant to be a joke, but I still wanted to mention it. Anyway, since Superman now has his powers, he grabs Metamorpho's son and goes to free the dog. While he was imprisoned, Lois went to the Justice Gang in order to get them together in order to free Superman. While Guy and Hawkgirl disagree, Mr. Terrific actually comes to help free Superman, in the place where the teleporter to the pocket universe is. Terrific opens it and sends in the drone to track Superman. After an action scene and a cool scene where Superman uses ice breath to escape a Meridia-looking black hole, Superman metamorphoses his son and Krypto all leave the Pocket Universe, while Terrific stays to see if he can fix the teleporter. Lois takes Krypto and Clark to the Kent house, so he can rest from the kryptonite poisoning. After an amazing scene with Paul Kent, Luthor manually activates the teleporter and it starts splitting the world in two. So Terrific calls Superman to deal with it. They get interrupted by symbiote Spider-Woman and Ultraman, and they use a really smart and disgusting way to kill him, and he deals with it in a really smart way. I really like this scene, which led to the reveal everyone could predict, but it revealed just how obsessed Luthor was with Superman. Going to all his fight scenes just to pick a piece of his hair to clone him was the most Luthor thing imaginable. I also love that he made an unimaginable amount of moves to fight against Superman, which led to an amazing scene and meme. However, Superman calls Krypto to destroy all of the cameras, which was set up when Krypto destroyed Terrific's cameras. Which another thing, sorry for being all over the place, everything in this film is set up, and set up well. Jokes, arcs, character choices, everything just got set up so well. I loved it throughout both of these films. Back to the film, after the two action scenes against Luthorman and all the drones, we get the most hopeful scene.
That is where you've always been wrong about me, Lex.
It was beautiful.
I'm as human as anyone. I get scared.
What gave me the authority to kill you? If not today, then...
What I found interesting was that Superman was exposed for something that he didn't do. It was something that his parents did, sure, but as Paul Kent said, parents don't define their child's legacy, they only guide them in the way they want them to go. But Luthor was exposed for something he did. He chose to align with Bernovia, he chose to betray his country, he chose to illegally imprison people, and even then, when Superman was exposed, he blamed himself, and he questioned if he truly was a good person. However, Luthor blamed Superman, who didn't have anything to do with it. Also, that look on his face is just peak acting. After a great epilogue, a good cameo from Minnie Alcock's Supergirl, and the amazing twist on the message from Kal-El's parents being replaced with Clark's parents, this movie ends. The post-credit scenes didn't add a lot, an amazing wallpaper and a good joke, but still worth staying for. So, what's my favorite film between these two? While I do genuinely love both of these films, I think you could guess that I preferred Superman. While I did love Fantastic Four, it didn't move me quite like Superman. That movie really moved me in ways I couldn't explain. I really loved it. It was also just a better film. Not by much, surprisingly. They're pretty neck and neck in terms of film quality, but again, I felt like Superman was better because it moved me. However, what do you think? Leave a comment down below telling me your opinion. So, that's it for this video. For the next one, I don't know yet. Maybe a Spider-Man Brand New Day video, maybe a Spider-Man 2 gameplay review since I finally got to play the game after 2 years, maybe a Helldivers video to return to form. We'll see though. And as always, final thing before you leave, drink water, eat an apple, talk to your family and subscribe so I can see you in the next one.